Another day for 23-year-old Nadia Kirsch. She left her job at the food market around 1 o'clock to pick up her son from daycare. But Nadia never made it. The next day, Nadia's abandoned car found in West Birmingham, Alabama. Her purse found on railroad tracks nearby. Railroad tracks in a wooded area. Police say they had someone in custody, but had to release them due to lack of evidence. Police need your help in solving what happened to Nadia.
Straight out to Paul Feinbaum with WJOX. Paul, what happened?
It's a good question, Nancy, and we still don't have any answers. We know that she left her job at Tria Market, which is a posh food store in Homewood right outside of Birmingham, about 1 o'clock to pick up her son at daycare, but never made it.
How far was that from daycare?
About a mile away, and what's interesting, and obviously what the police find so interesting, is that her car was found about 15 minutes away, nowhere near there. It was found on the west side of Birmingham near Elmwood Cemetery, which is interestingly where the famous Alabama football coach Paul Bryan is buried. Her car was found near railroad tracks, and the purse was found on the railroad tracks.
Joining me right now is a very special guest. It is Nadia's mother, Nancy Kirsch. Thank you for being with us, Miss Kirsch. Miss Kirsch, what are police telling you about her disappearance?
Well, we know that the case has turned from a missing person case to a criminal investigation at this point. Her car was found in West Birmingham. It was actually found in an isolated alley. The purse was found on railroad tracks in a very deep area that was overgrown. When I went to the bridge, the overpass, to look down below, you couldn't see it. You really had to go under the underpass and see the area where the purse lay. So it was a miracle that they found it. I know that that her phone was in her purse, and so the police have been able to track the individuals, or certainly the phone's whereabouts, in West Birmingham and actually in East Birmingham. They do have a prime suspect. He is a man from Irondale, is what I know, and I know that they're building a case.
Tell me about this prime suspect, as you refer to him, Ms. Kirsch. Did he know her?
I understand he was an acquaintance of hers.
Now, tell me, where did she work, Ms. Kirsch?
She worked in Tria Market. It's a sort of an upscale health food store.
To Dr. Patricia Saunders, clinical psychologist, joining us out of New York, anyone could have come in and out as a customer.
Yes, they could have, Nancy, but we know that fully a third, if not a little bit more, of women who are homicide victims are killed by their significant others, their partners, their boyfriends, their husbands.
Take a listen to this.
7:30, some to 8, I had to call Homewood. I called DHR and I called Homewood. They came out and he sent one of his guys over to check the house and look for the car and some signs of him.
Helen Wilson is the director of ABC Daycare, where 23-year-old Nadia Kirsch took her 1-year-old son Christopher every day. That's why Wilson had to call police when Nadia didn't pick him up. According to Nadia's boss at Homewood's Tria Market, Nadia left work for lunch at 1 o'clock and didn't come back.
She didn't miss work, so we knew something was up then, and then but when we found out that she didn't go to get her son, then we knew something was terribly wrong.
To Susan Moss, child advocate, that must have been incredibly confusing for the little boy, for his mom not to come back.
Well, absolutely, and although you certainly don't want to lie to a child, and you really have to be very soft in talking about where his mommy is, because I'm sure even a 1-year-old is looking around and noticing something different.
To Nadia's mother, Nancy Kirsch, joining us tonight out of Montgomery, where is the little boy?
The little boy is with a good friend of Nadia's, and she is taking very good care of him. She has a very close relationship with her grandson, and he's comfortable with her, happy with her. and we just feel it's important for him to stay there for now.
To Mike Brooks, former Fed with the FBI, what should police be doing right now?
Well, Nancy, you know, initially they should have been going through, looking at any surveillance video of maybe the routes that she would take to and from the daycare center, from her place of work. You know, there was some surveillance apparently in a parking garage that showed her, but it looked like she was by herself. You know, checking her ATM card. Had there been any activity on there? I'm glad to hear from her mother that apparently they were able to use the cell phone that was in the purse to try to trace this person they're looking at right now, this chief suspect as they call it. But there's a lot of other things now that they need to do, talking to people closest to her, friends, associates. Again, just like any other investigation we always talk about, Nancy, you want to make sure that the people closest to her are taken out of the case so they can focus their case on a good suspect.
To Paul Feinbaum with WJOX. Paul, what can you tell us about this person of interest?
Well, the person of interest, there are three persons of interest right now, Nancy. One has been retained, but no charges have filed. Another, of course, is reportedly her ex-boyfriend. They apparently dated a year and a half and have broken up, and I'm sure the mother could probably add more to that than I could.
What about it, Ms. Kirsch?
Well, I can tell you that the Homewood Police Department, of whom I've been in contact with on a daily basis, has told me today that the ex-boyfriend has been cleared as a suspect.
To Dr. Lawrence Kobylinski, joining us out of John Jay College of Criminal Justice, I guess at this juncture you'd have to treat the car as the only crime scene you've got, really. What would you do?
I think you're right about the car, but let me also redirect your attention to that purse. That purse may have latent fingerprints or DNA. It may have been thrown by the assailant, and that could be a very key to tying this person of interest or suspect directly to the event.
Kobe, you're absolutely correct about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the car certainly is another point where clearly an assailant was in that car. And there may again be latent prints. There may be DNA on the steering wheel, on the door handle. There are a lot of things that police should be doing now, and they have to act quickly.
Despite scores of volunteer searchers, police still haven't located 23-year-old Nadia Kirsch. The mother of a 1-year-old boy left work to pick up her son at daycare, but never arrived. Police recover Nadia's car the next day abandoned. Nadia's purse found on nearby railroad tracks. Investigators taking forensic samples, even asking NASA for satellite images in an attempt to find mom Nadia Kirsch.